Hey guys, we got a little series for you here that's based around the idea of identifying major battles. We're gonna focus on the berimbolo. Wait, don't turn the video off. We're gonna focus on it in a way that doesn't require flexibility and allows you to understand it, hopefully, in such a simple manner that you'll be able to defeat it, or at least, defeat somebody who isn't like a crazy expert at it in a simple exchange, because you understand a couple of concepts that we're going to present and play a couple of the games that we're going to present. So we're going to have a series of videos here on this idea of battles that show up throughout jiu-jitsu. Again, one example is the berimbolo. We will use other examples. We may even have a whole instructional on this if you guys like it. Right, so the battle we're going to identify for you today is the hip versus knee or knee versus hip battle. This is related to berimbolo. It's also related to leg lock. So if you're at all familiar with like the kind of meta of, I'm going to go into the berimbolo position from here. Sure. The meta of like current no-gi, you've got people who want to break your legs and you've got people who want to take your back. And they tend to have a battle that's centered around their hips being close. So if I move myself here into the bolo position.
Which way do you want to turn here?
This is good right here. So can you see my knee against the hip?
No.
Yeah. There we go. Now you can. Yes?
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So in this battle right now, Rory's, like my knee is in front of Rory's hip, which is good. I also need to have a strong lever control to drive Rory's knee past his hip. Right now, Rory's knee is not past his hip. It's in front of his hip. So right now, I can't really do anything to him. As I drive that knee past his hip, I'm able to pinwheel him over and start attacking his back. Let's go into the truck now. One of the easiest ways to demonstrate this idea is in this position. Right now, my knee is behind Rory's hip. Rory's knee is in front of my hip. So he starts pushing me. He's able to take my back. Because I understand this battle, if I'm able to put Rory's knee, get my knee in front of his hip, there we go, and get his knee farther back behind his hip, then I can start to attack him. He's got what's like cosmetically the winning position here, right? Like if you've seen this position taught before, the shin being in the bend of the knee is usually recommended as an indicator that this guy is winning because he's able to push my leg this way. But if I understand the lever mechanics of these positions well enough, if I understand internal and external rotation of the hip, which we'll talk about in greater detail later, I can still turn this to my favor as long as I prevent my knee from going too far back behind my hip. It's now behind his hip. This is no good. Rory's knee is in front of my hip. My knee is behind his hip. I don't have any access. But if I can internally rotate my hip, slightly externally rotating Rory's hip, if he goes to push now, it's both his legs against one of my legs, and I'm still winning the position. You can see my knee is in front of his hip. His knee is, let's rotate so people can see the change in angle. This is so awkward. So right now, Rory's knee is in front of my hip, but I've now placed it behind my hip. So my knee is in front of his hip, his knee is behind my hip. Once you understand the nature of this battle, that relative hip and knee position, and the internal and external rotation mechanics of the leg, you'll be able to have this battle where even though, again, by the sort of standard metrics of the position, Rory's winning. He has his shin in the bend of my knee. He's got both his legs against one of my legs. But because I understand this mechanism, this battle, I can
feel like I'm winning.
Reverse the position, yeah, relatively easily. So that's kind of the first example of this. We're going to have other examples as we go on. Knee versus hip. I want to make sure that I get my knee in front of his hip and I get his knee behind my hip. At least when we're talking about the battle for back exposure. We'll talk a little bit about how this is exhibited in the leg locker side of this later on, but understand this mechanism and simply achieve this relative position and you're gonna win kind of from like I don't want to say bad positions, but from positions within this exchange that are considered to be advantageous for one person, you can still win the battle if you understand this mechanism.